So yes, this video is an experiment for my YouTube channel. I will explain what that experiment is later, but first, as part of the experiment, I want to tell you the true story of something I did when I was in my late 20s that up until tonight, when I was thinking of telling you all this story, I always thought of it as like this really cool story of a time where I was like super brave and I did this thing that I was scared to do and it turned out this way, but man, I was so brave and like feeling pretty like good about myself. Tonight when I was reminding myself of the story, it became pretty clear to me that it was actually a little bit foolish of me. It doesn't sound, I mean, you decide. When you hear it, uh, let me know. Do you think it was super brave and courageous, or was it like, why did you do that? Because here's what I'm trying to say. Do you ever watch one of those movies where you're watching a person go into like a haunted house or like a dark room or an empty house, and you're like, don't go in there. Why are they going in there? You're saying to all your friends, why are they going in there? I had a moment like that. Here's what happened. When I was in my late 20s, I was working at a place that was a women's shelter because I was in between jobs. I just moved into a new city. I couldn't find paid work. So this was like a volunteer position. I would get room and board. So it was a women's shelter connected with a local church there. So women lived on the premises. They had their own kind of like a dorm room situation, and it had a chapel connected to it. So my responsibilities for the night in question, as the volunteer that night, I'm 99% sure I was the only volunteer on the premises. It was just me, and then all the women who were staying, like they were needing homes themselves in between, getting rehab or whatever they were going through. These women needed a place to stay. So my job was to make sure at, I don't know, 9:30 at night, whatever the curfew was, to make sure that everybody was home, everybody was there, and that everybody was not hanging out anymore, that they were all in their rooms with the door closed because it was like a curfew. And I also had to make sure all the doors were locked, everything, locked in, safe and sound. So it came that time of night. I checked the doors, they're locked. Great. Everybody's in their rooms. Awesome. So I am going to go around and like turn off all the lights because it's like, cool, my shift is over. I'm just going to go back to my own room, which was a place right there in the same building. I had my own kind of like mini apartment dorm room type situation. So I'm going around and turning the lights off, and I step from the hallway and look into the small chapel that was connected to this living area. Excuse me. So I turn the lights off, and then I'm like, and I'm looking across the chapel on the side wall near the front where there is a door closed and there's light on. There like is light coming from underneath the door. So I'm like, okay, strange. But I'm on duty tonight, so I'm in charge. Like, this is my responsibility. I have to figure out what's happening here. So I go up to that door and I think, okay, somebody just left a light on in whatever this other room is, I guess. So I try to open that door and it's locked, and from the other side. So yeah. So there's the light on in that room. The door is locked, and it's a door that can only be locked from the other side. So I decide that I have to exit, like go back through the chapel, exit the main door, and go around to the outside door that goes into that room. I hope this makes sense. Basically, whatever was on the other side of that door had its own in and out door, entrance and exit. So I also need to make sure that door is locked, which maybe that's why I was walking through. Now that I think about it, that's probably why I was going into the chapel, is to go through and make sure that door in that extra room was locked. So I was scared, but I just was in this zone of like, but it's up to me. Like, I have to make sure everything's secure and safe. Now, anyways, maybe you can already see the foolishness here, but somebody told me once that like until you're like 20 something, your rational part of your brain isn't like fully developed. So maybe that would help explain some things. Anyways, so I'm just in this like, well, it's up to me. Yeah, I'm scared, but I got to do this. It's all up to me. Maybe I tried to sorry. Maybe I tried to call somebody else, but it was late at night, so maybe I was just scared to like call other volunteers to see if they could come and help me. Maybe I tried and I couldn't get a hold of anybody. Anyways, for whatever reason, I think like I have to take care of this. So I leave the main door, go around to the door that leads into this extra room that has the door locked and a light on. The door is open. So it's late at night. The door is open like this much. And I start walking towards that door because apparently a 20-something skinny girl is gonna like do what? If she finds it, like what was I? As I'm walking in that door, I am thinking of all the scary movies I've seen and thinking, wow, I'm kind of like those people in those movies where everyone says, don't go in. Why is she going in there? But I thought of that and then I was like, yeah, but like, I can handle, like, I'm just doing, I don't know what I was thinking. I was being this brave person that wasn't thinking things through. So I walk in and the lights are on. It's looking like this is a guest room and, or something. Like, I can't remember what furniture I saw, but it was a room with the lights on. And I look down and there's a duffel bag. So then, of course, I'm thinking of all the other scary movies I've seen where they open a bag and it's scary. So I'm terrified, but I feel like I got to figure this out. So I go to the duffel bag, half expecting in my wildest imagination that I'm not going to say what I thought I would see in there. And I unzip it really fast. And there was a bunch of socks and like clothes. So I'm like, I don't understand this. Did I leave at that point and go find someone and say, stop this foolishness, Kendall? You need to find out what's happening and stop endangering yourself? No, I decided I was going to explore further. So there's actually another room to go to. I go walking down and there's like a kitchen of sorts. And I'm just looking around. And I'm like, okay, so this is like a kitchen and a bedroom. But why was this door locked from this side? And why is a light on? And why is the door open? So I don't understand what's happening. So I just think, well, I just have to secure the room. I have to secure the building. So I make sure that I guess it was like a door handle lock. I don't know. So I make sure to unlock. I don't know what I did to that sliding door that led to the chapel, but I went back out to the door that led back outside. I closed it, made sure it was locked so that I could say all the doors are locked. So then you know what? Maybe I had called somebody, another volunteer that lived off site and left a message. That's probably what happened. And I hadn't heard back, so I just thought I have to handle this. Because when I got back in, at that point, I must have gotten a phone call back from one of the other volunteers. And I said, like, this is what happened, and there was this light and the door, and she goes, oh, well, actually, so-and-so's boyfriend is staying in that guest room, so that's, sorry, we forgot to tell you. I, for years, would tell people that story with me as like this hero not smart, right? I can see it now. I can see it now. I mean, feel free to leave comments that say how brave I was, but it's like, thanks, but I see it clear. My brain is apparently fully developed now at 43. So I am sharing this story with you. One, because it's just a fascinating story of like how we can look back, how we can view our lives and situations in one mindset, but then later on we can look back and be like, what was I thinking? Like, and if you ever find yourself in a situation where you think like, I have to do this, even though you're getting warning, 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 like maybe you don't have to. Maybe you could get to safety and just wait until you get info from the other people that you work with or are in charge. So anyways, now that you have listened to that 10-minute long story, I want to tell you what this experiment is about. It actually is about trying to find out if longer YouTube videos will get you more views or not. So I also do have another cool tie-in to this story that will be like a helpful lesson that doesn't necessarily relate to a YouTube channel, but I was trying to think of like interesting stories that would like help people want to listen, because again, this video is an experiment, because earlier today, as I was going through YouTube, I was listening to another YouTuber talking about how she got to 1,000 subscribers and got her watch hours on one of her channels. She felt like maybe it was because of she had a longer video, and that by having a longer video that had people like get her more watch hours. So I'm like, then someone else though in the comments said like, oh, I've gotten my watch hours, but they were all from short videos. So it gave me this idea to like, let's experiment. So this is the experiment. One, I just wanted to tell you that story and comment on like, oh my word, I was going to go a different way with that story about like being brave and doing things even though you're scared. And then it turned out it was just foolish, and like maybe a lesson in like, if you're getting those warning feelings of danger or like, this is dumb, like maybe listen. I don't know your circumstances. I'm just saying it's an option. So this is the experiment. I'm at 12 minutes here. I usually keep my videos to maybe like 6, 7, 8. I mean, I even have some super short ones that are like a minute and a half, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I just don't know. And if you are a content creator, let me know in the comments too. Like, do you get more watch hours from your short videos or from your long videos? Because to me, I have always thought long videos, people don't want to watch long videos. They want short videos. And that if they see that a video is going on 13 minutes, probably longer by the time I'm finished, people are going to be clicking away. I don't know. So I wanted to do this experiment to see if I do a longer video, does it get more watch time or does it turn people off? I have no idea, but I will say this. I recently my channel got to 1,000 watch hours. So I am trying to monetize my channel, but to do that, you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers plus 4,000 watch hours within a 365-day period. So I am motivated to try this experiment to see if I can get more watch hours. And I don't know, if there's not as many views or not as much time watched, then I will know that I need to stick with the shorter videos. I am not, I could just see it now. I'm not looking for comments that are like, yeah, these long videos stink. I want short ones. Stick to the short ones. Like, that's not helpful. I'm looking for, if you are a content creator and you have found some insight for your own channel, feel free to tell us. All right, that said, that's what the experiment is. I did mention that I had like another thing to share about my time working at that women's shelter that is unrelated, but is also kind of like, might be helpful for someone to hear. So I was living at that, volunteering at the women's shelter to get free room and board, and also to try and do something helpful in the meantime. So what happened is I had been there maybe only a couple of months, and while I was there, I really felt like, man, I'm in the right place, like maybe I'm here to bring some changes, because I saw some things that to me at the time I felt like were not very healthy, or like that it needed some improvement. And I felt like maybe that's why I'm here, to help bring this improvement and like healthiness to this place. But then someone at my church approached me. Maybe you're watching this video. Hello, you probably know who you are if you're watching. Approached me with a awesome idea that they could rent they had like an attached room, kind of like one room studio apartment type thing attached to their home. And that they offered, if I wanted to, that I could move into that. And then half of my rent could be paid through childcare and tutoring and just different things, working with their kids or doing things that they needed help with. So I said yes. And well, no, here, I rushed ahead. The lesson is I wanted to say yes right away, but I was worried that I was leaving a position at the women's shelter. I thought, what if I leave and everything, like all the things that I saw needed improvement? What if me leaving makes it so that those good things can't happen? Those improvements won't happen. So I was trying to decide, and someone I know, who you might be watching this as well, I was trying to get advice, like, what should I do? Like, what if God wants me to stay at this place? And what if I'm leaving and, just it's going to be abandoned to, like, anybody could come in and fill that spot and just keep it in like an unhealthy place. And this person said to me, well, you know what? God doesn't necessarily need you for that to happen. Like, I'm making it more palatable. This person said, God doesn't need you to get his plans done, basically. And I was like, how dare you? Actually, that's very freeing. So no, I wasn't offended. It actually helped me. Maybe if I would have heard that now, I'd be like, that's not very nice. But at the time, it was very freeing. Here's the thing, that told me that it wasn't all on my shoulders. Like, I can't fix the world. Hey, maybe God can use other people, right? Like, you're not some valiant fixer and saver of the world. Like, God can use other people other than you. So it was cool to hear that, because it actually freed me up to be like, oh yeah, God can use anybody. Like, he can bring someone else in who has a similar vision for like bringing this place to a healthier place. So I said yes to the live-in studio position with this family from church. And it turned out that the volunteer that took my place at the women's shelter was way even better a fit for that position than me. Like, it was like humbling, but like super exciting to know that, like, by me stepping aside, I made room for someone else who was actually passionate about that line of work and had vision, and like, I could just tell she was in the right zone. You know what I mean? So take that for what you will. I don't know your circumstances. I'm not saying you have to leave a thing or say yes to a thing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying God can use anybody. And sometimes by us stepping away from a position, it opens up the door for someone who's way more passionate for that work. Maybe it doesn't happen that way all the time, but it was pretty cool that it worked out that way for this. And you know what? I'm thinking of another story. But I'm coming up on 20 minutes here. I think this is a great conclusion to this experiment. If I can get it to 20 minutes, I'm at 19 minutes and 53 seconds. Think thank you for watching. I don't necessarily think you have to have watched this entire thing. It's just an experiment. And also, if anything, let this be an inspiration to you to try out experiments on your own channels as well if you are a content creator. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of this experiment. And stay tuned for more. Not probably more experiments. This is just... Stay tuned for more applicable, intentionally thought out themed videos.